7:48 Sunday papers for you now, and a whistleblower tells The Observer Tory ministers and advisers have shown dangerous complacency regarding unsafe concrete in schools.
Meanwhile, The Independent reports that major Tory donor Mohamed Amersi is considering switching his support to Labour.
The Mail on Sunday's front page says every frontline Tesco store worker will get a body cam following an increase in violent attacks on staff.
And The Telegraph reports that Rishi Sunak has rejected demands from the government's climate advisers to halt the expansion of airports.
Sunday Mirror reporting that hackers linked to Russia have seized details about security at our nuclear weapons base.
Oh, joy.
Oh, not much to worry about there, then.
No! Oh, my goodness. Joining us this morning to have a look through the papers there, writer and columnist Emma Wolfe and author and broadcaster Nikki Hodgson. And a very good morning to both of you. Right, what are we kicking off with, Nikki? Looking in the Telegraph, and the fact that Rishi Sunak is now sort of defying our net zero ban on new airports.
Yes, obviously. It's been a controversial week for policies regarding the environment and how consumers or, ordinary people have to play their bit or not to help reach that net zero target. But this is Rishi Sunak quite boldly saying that he's going to ignore the government's climate change advisors who have said we should have no expansion of airports, and he's going to push ahead with expanding some. So there's going to be some...
Not building Boris Island, are we, again?
We haven't got back to Boris Island, no, that's thankfully been pushed out. But Southampton is going to see some... It's going to be some of the small airports, such as Southampton, London's Gatwick, City and Heathrow. They've also got plans in the works to expand. We talk about this a lot because, Rishi Sunak's priority is the economy, So he wants to secure Britain as a major player in the world in terms of, who can come in and out, what kinds of business we can do. Obviously, we've had Brexit. We've got to find new trade routes in. We've got to find new routes for attracting talent to come and do business with us. And this is what he's concerned with. The reason this is going to be controversial is because... the body that has basically said you shouldn't be expanding airports has lots of support from big charities like Greenpeace, lots of environmental campaigners, and they will probably mount legal challenges if Rishi Sunak allows for airport expansion to go on.
So basically, he's kicking the green agenda down the road.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still very unclear as to where the Conservative Party and Labour stand, really where they stand.
They don't know, do
they
they?
don't know. We don't know. Where do they stand on ULEZ? OK, the Labour mayor, it's been so controversial over the past few weeks. The mayor is Labour, but the Labour Party aren't fully behind him. The Conservative Party are flip-flopping. I think that the voters need to know, as we go into the next election, I think voters need to know, want to know, what they're voting for and where the two main parties stand. We know the Green Party stand, but what about Labour and the Conservative?
Absolutely, and this has been the problem, because you get one side of the Tory party saying we really care about environmental issues, and they've got a long track record of caring about things like the countryside. But, in terms of stopping emissions and getting down to that net zero target, it is so controversial to put policies that affect the lives of ordinary people in a really kind of insidious way, which is exactly why people hate ULEZ. And so, obviously, Rishi Sunak has sort of looked at what's happened with that. We're not doing it, we don't want it. And maybe he's got a bit of confidence from that, so that's why he's pushing forward with this policy. But I completely agree with you, Emma. If they don't tell us what they stand for, we can't vote for them, even if, about that policy.
But there's no consistency. They're almost reversing the argument. They're saying, tell us what you'll vote for.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then we get random comments like Keir Starmer saying, I don't like tree huggers. And then you're not sure, because I think most of us feel, Labour will be more.
You assume that,
One would assume that, but it's not clear.
And
they seem to be following, as you say, they seem to be following the wind rather than sort of setting the agenda.
Yeah. Emma, let's have a look at crumbling buildings, should we, on the Sunday Times.
Well, obviously, this has been all across the papers all weekend. But actually, Stephen, what's really shocking is that things like the asbestos in schools, in hospitals, in many public buildings was known about, well, it's been known about for decades, but these kind of really alarming reports have been known about since July. We knew we had a crisis. This concrete, the rock, the reinforced aerated concrete is now being found, suspected, not only in schools and hospitals, police stations, leisure centres, offices, council buildings. Exposure to asbestos alone, which, OK, is safe when it's inside buildings, but the minute you start to disturb it, the minute you start to possibly look into concrete, then asbestos becomes very dangerous. Asbestos kills 5,000 people a year in the UK. So we have potentially a major crisis across our public buildings. Why can we not build properly anymore? Why is our infrastructure... We talked about broken Britain, but why do we care so little that we allow cheap cladding to be put on our residential buildings, that we just throw... You've seen them all around in every city centre, in every town. You see buildings going up that are going to be pulled down in 10, 20 years' time. And
We don't build for the long term.
But we have cathedral cities in this country that we adore and that we venerate and that are 8, 9, 1,000 years old, that everybody goes to visit, that we absolutely love. Why can we not build buildings like that anymore?
It's the cost. I guess it's the cost.
But
Should it be cheaper to throw up this kind of stuff? Yeah, of course, developers want to quickly build, quickly sell, and then get out.
They need to be regulated with the science that we know.
They do. Let's just quickly have a look at the MO. How long have we got? Oh no, we haven't got enough time.
Talk about it next time.
But we'll talk about it next time. There's lots I want to talk about there, especially the security secrets being leaked. That's very worrying indeed. So we'll come back to that. Nikki and Emma, thank you very much indeed. Let's see what Jonathan's got for us this morning. It's looking good.